last Monday. So Hadissus Sobah 1 was a program, a set of program for heads of department, deputy deans, and the kuliah of RKHS to co-learn as well, during which we have learned many things about education or academic climate, right? So this is another session, another platform for the kuliah of Islamic Review Knowledge and Human Sciences to avail or to provide academic climate to both academics and students, so that we can relate or we can tie whatever we have in our classes, whatever we do in our research, whatever we want to write in our publication to the climate or to the context of higher education. Talking about higher education, I would like to remind myself and my fellow colleagues and also students that we are in a sector, we are in a service sector which focuses on three functions. Okay, I have been always talking about this one, three functions: the intellectual function, the social function, and also education function. Right. So to do this, okay, we need to embrace or uphold to a culture which is developmental culture. So we have to always remind, we have to always remember that we are here to develop people, to develop knowledge, to develop generation, current and also the future generation. Right. So this developmental culture has to be provided with climate. So we are now creating some good climate for both academics and students to understand where we stand, where we are, right? So we are in an education service sector. We are in a knowledge development service sector whereby we have to always talk about developing, okay, developing people, developing knowledge, developing generation, so on and so forth. Now, in order to have good knowledge workers, okay, we have to prepare them to be a good workforce as well, right? So we have to support them, we have to give them facilities, we have to give them whatever they need, including their intellectual, their spiritual development, right? So in IIUM, we are very lucky that the university has given due attention, sufficient attention to the development of not only physical health, but also mental health, right? So we have two recently endorsed policies, mental health policies for students and mental health policy for staff. And Dr. Lihanna today will be enlightening us on these two new policies, what's in it for us in these two policies, right? So I hope this will be benefited by all of us. Hopefully we can enhance our motivation and in turn enhance our job satisfaction and in turn do our best to support the mission of this university, inshallah. So that's all from me. I would like to invite all of you to follow our Hadissus Sobah series, which we have arranged to be weekly event. Right. So next week we have another topic, and we have arranged topics and speakers until the end of the year, inshallah. All right. So look forward to having you again in future series of Hadissus Sobah. Thank you. Over to you, Sister Nazifa.
We graciously thank Professor Dr. Shukran for his meaningful speech. Respected lecturers and administrative staff, brothers and sisters, before we indulge into today's presentation, allow me to introduce our speaker for today. Associate Professor Dr. Lihanna Borhan received her Bachelor of Arts degree with a double major in chemistry and psychology from Washington University, St. Louis. She then pursued a postgraduate studies in psychology and human development in the University of Chicago, obtaining her master's degree in 1996 and her doctorate in 1998. She then worked in the Faculty of Education, University of Malaya. While mainly teaching and doing research in early childhood education and educational psychology, she was also involved in research and consultancy related to various aspects of education. In 2008, she joined the International Islamic University Malaysia IIUM. Besides the numerous research articles in both national and international journals, Dr. Lihanna has also co-edited 2 books on Malaysian adolescents. She also contributed book chapters related to developmental psychology and education. She has also written regularly in parenting magazines, and she is a research consultant in the longitudinal nationwide study on soft skills of Malaysian university students, commissioned by the Ministry of Education, and a consultant with the Examination Syndicate on Malaysian Educator Selection Inventory since 2007. She was also part of the research team on OECD's Indicators of Education for Malaysia. Currently, Associate Professor Dr. Lihanna Borhan is the Director Office of Knowledge for Change and Advancement. The topic for today's presentation by the speaker would be the IHSAN, IIUM Haikal al-Sihhah, al-Aqliyyah wal-Nafsiyyah. Without further delay, the ceremony invites our Honourable Speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Lihanna Borhan, to start her presentation. Please welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Nazifa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Professor Dr. Shukran and all the kuliah management members, okay, and basically friends, okay, friends in the kuliah and also in the wider IIUM community. Okay, inshallah. Thank you for the kind introduction. We'll go right straight to this one, but basically the reason why I have been asked to share this with you, the topic, okay, is because of my role as the chairman of the Special Mental Health Task Force. Okay, I'll go back that later, but just to present our title again, IIUM Haikal, al-Sihhah, al-Aqliyyah wal-Nafsiyyah, which we got from Prof. Hassan when during one of our session with him. Yes, so the idea here was initially the task force was supposed to come up, one of the things that we're supposed to come up is the strategic planning for the university in terms of the mental health. We're not just talking, and then we sat down together. These are all the wonderful team members that have worked tirelessly, you know, regardless of how busy. I mean, these are all very busy people, obviously. Okay, but we managed, okay, to actually come up with the things that we were supposed to come up with. One is first we did engagement session to see what's going on in terms of the mental health activities institutionally. Okay, and you know, Department of Psychology was in one of the workshops. Okay, and then we see what needed to be done and how to move forward. So this is where I'm going to be sharing with you what the task force has submitted and have been approved up to the Board of Governors in terms of the policies and way forward, mental health of the university. Okay, so you can see that Prof. Shukran is also in the task force, and of course, we have to have pictures. Okay, okay. So the last, but actually the overarching document that came out from this task force was IHSAN. There is my personal tendency to call it IHSAN framework, but it's not actually. I mean, I cannot actually call it IHSAN framework because the word framework is already there. Then Haikal is already framework then. Okay, so out of this, and if you listen to Prof. Shukran just now, our dean just now, talk about there are 2 policies to be highlighted here, the IIM mental health policy for staff and also the IIM mental health policy for students. And we also, CCSC and the clinic and the relevant agencies came up with the SOP for emergency cases. So Dr. No is in the know about this, okay, but I think it is something that we all should also know, okay, but this would not be the platform for me to explain the SOP for emergency cases. I'm going to be, how I'm going to structure this is really because I'm not going to go through the policies one by one, but I would like to share the IHSAN so that we will all be able to see where the university is going, and we will be able to, inshallah, see that everybody actually can play and should play a role in how we are going to make IIUM, when we talk about mental health, especially from the Islamic perspective, but I really wouldn't want us to confine it only to the Islamic perspective, because the mental health from Islamic perspective is something that should be applicable actually for all. We are talking about rahmatan lil alamin. Okay, so to move forward then, so let me indulge me to go through a few pages of what IHSAN is about first. Okay, so because it is very important for us to understand, everybody uses the word mental health left and right nowadays, which is good in a way that everybody is now talking about this. It's inshallah going to be less of a stigma of what it has to be. But one of the problems is also that everyone has their own definition of what mental health is. And this is not saying that this is the task force is not saying that this is the conceptualization that has to be used at all times, but this is where, as an institution, as an institution, we have tried to come up with a conceptualization that is encompassing and address our needs, our mission and vision, basically the nature of our institution. That's why we didn't just adopt the WHO's definition of mental health here. Okay. We went beyond that. Okay, so it is not also saying, okay, we're pushing it, but we're actually extending it so that we can include the underlying ontology of human beings from the Islamic perspective. Okay, all right. So it will be based on the conception of human beings as spiritual moral beings with purity of fitrah and ruh from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are saying, okay, this word seems familiar because the task force have the wisdom of Prof Kamal to actually come, when he actually came and talked to us about this. So, and we also have the wisdom of the current dean. So you know that these are words that we actually, inshallah, are very familiar with, just packaged or put together in a slide, in the framework that we have not been using before. Okay, so the idea of iman, amal soleh, taqwa, this ihsan and hayah tayyibah. Okay, this is basically the idea that it's a good living fi dunya wal akhirah. Okay, so the conceptualization of mental health in IIUM is not just about being happy and being okay in the earth, okay, right now in this worldly life, but also that this is something that the main concern is that this is actually a journey towards good life in the hereafter. This is not saying, this is by no means saying if you have mental health issues, it means you have your iman is weak. Okay, but if we do not have this conceptualization taken, we really cannot be talking about this. So this is understanding that this is all part of the journey. Okay, our iman goes back up and down, just so like our mental health also go up and down. So, but the conceptualization here is to put them together. One does not, but it cannot be seen as if you have mental health issues, it is because your iman is not strong. Okay, so this is the idea of the soul. Okay, that has been in the Quran, the nafs al-mara, lawama, and also nafs al-mutma'innah. Okay, this is a process of development towards having a positive sense of identity, the ability to manage thoughts, emotions, as well as to build social relationships an aptitude to learn and acquire an education, and enabling full participation in society. This is very important because this is what actually, when we talk about the policies later, these are the underpinning of these policies, okay? That it is not just about the individual, okay? But it is also about the individual and also the people around the individual, okay? But also the impact of having this good mental health, okay? For students and even for us, lecturers and staff, okay? To basically learn. Learn does not have to be a formal learning here. Learning means we continue to develop, we continue to gain new things, we continue to gain new skills, new thoughts, okay, new ways of handling things, okay, basically making us to be able to participate in society in whatever role that we have or we're supposed to play, okay? So this is the impact there, okay? So the idea here that this is someone who displays the characteristics of insan sejahtera, okay? Not just about person to person, person to person intra-person, person to the person, the immediate circle, yes, but also person to the environment, okay, person to humanity, okay, and all of this, okay, and all of this in the service of enhancing our awareness with our relationship to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Okay, so it is not just about the dunya. Okay, so it's about it is a life course perspective approach, but not simply life here. Okay, a life course perspective approach of beyond. Okay, so this is to be deeply rooted in Islamic teaching, and you will see that this is actually also explicitly there in the IHSAN. Okay, I would like to just add also, okay, the framework. Okay, the IHSAN is a testimony of the university's commitment to provide an environment that develops the persons, okay, the persons as in individuals here, okay, holistically to be successful in this world and inshallah in the hereafter, while also adhering to the philosophical foundations of a university that is Islamic and international. The capital U and the small u is intentional, okay, because one refers to IIUM, okay, as an entity, okay. The second one refers to what a university is supposed to be, okay. So all the major activities of the university. So you can see then, this is important to put this in mind so that you will, when I go to the next slide, okay, we will see that IHSAN, when we talk about mental health is not just about practice. Okay. Okay. The framework has all these 6 major areas. Okay. Training, research, practice and services, advocacy, consultancy, and also governance. Why governance? One of the things that we realize, okay, well, I think most of you would have probably also observed this, is that it is not, in terms of mental health activities, be it any of these things, it is not that we have not been doing anything. A lot of us have been doing a lot of things in various capacities, in various platforms. Okay? But we seem to be doing things in just, okay, this is my circle, this is your circle, this is your bubble, this is their bubble. Okay, so one of the things that the task force then also tried to put forth with IHSAN is that with a good governance structure, okay, inshallah, there can be coordination between all the different areas. Okay, and we will talk, I will just show you what this governance is going to look like later. Okay, very, very briefly, I'm not going to be reading each and every one of this because I believe everyone are very fast readers. Okay. Okay. But so training here also involves first and foremost the academic programs. Okay. And we have one here in the Kuliah, the Department of Psychology. Okay, that would be very overtly involved. Okay, or if they are not yet, okay, which of course I know that they are. We are as a member of the department. Okay, and our programs should not only be fully accredited, but they will fully support staff. Okay. And the graduates of these programs will become practitioners in the chosen field who are professional, knowledgeable, highly skilled, and dedicated to serving the Ummah. Okay, so you can see the psychology there. Then the idea that everybody is also should be. This does not. I mean, IHSAN is just saying at this point, you people, you are offering all these programs. Okay, now you people start working together. Not to jumud a program. Okay, not to jumud a program, but find ways to work together, and perhaps there would be an interdisciplinary approach to mental health that is uniquely IIUM while being applicable to everyone. It is very important for us to have that actually, that it cannot just be an exclusive thing that is going to be only meaningful to a small group of people, even though there are millions of Muslims in the world, but it cannot just be only for the Muslims. Okay, so, and we're going to foresee this is not going to be something that, okay, it's not, you snap your fingers and it's going to happen. It's going to be a long process, but I do believe that having been in task force and working with, talking to all these different departments, they're aware of the need to be doing this, and then inshallah they will be doing this also. Okay. Okay. So yes, yeah, Department of Psychology, that's yours. Okay, now of course, it's not limited to formal academic programs. There are also and other agencies, and also not limited to just departments, but also other agencies. Other agencies should be actively offering trainings for internally and externally, in any form whatsoever. Basically, the idea here is when people think about mental health, first in Malaysia, at least people start thinking, okay, we should go to IIUM. That's the idea. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, and that's the challenge that the task force is throwing out to all these departments. Okay, right. And then the training program, okay, something that we should perhaps also be concerned about, which is why this is in the framework, to address the issue of pseudoscience, especially pseudopsychology. Okay. We really do not want especially our graduates would go out and be espousing pseudoscience. Okay, I mean, that would be a major embarrassment. Okay. So, and it can be in so many different forms. Take your pick. We talk about Safiya. We talk about being flexible, being innovative, okay, being empowered to do all this, okay? But of course, to remember to be accountable for that. But, talk about if you have the expertise, if you have the know-how, and, you can be the content subject matter expert, coordinate, communicate with others. Okay, so maybe psychology to work with the communication, but also to work with the IRK people, so that we can really come up with something that is truly, as I mentioned earlier, IIUM interdisciplinary, that is uniquely IIUM. Okay, so something for, this is why I also do want to go through this before going to the policies. Yeah. Okay, so research, okay, we should be basically the same thing. When people think about where do we want to go if you want to find subject matter expert in mental health, ding dong, it is IIUM. Oh, salah pula ni. Okay, that's a typo there. Okay, it will, to everybody's mind, it will be inshallah at over in a few years' time, if not now, it's IIM. So that's the idea. Okay, and also that it should be a responsible research framework. Okay, the idea that is going to be impactful to the well-being of society, not just the individual, with the ultimate impact of potential for eternal well-being. Okay, potential. Okay, that's what we are striving for, inshallah. Okay. Now, so the idea there that this is also something is put there in the framework so that the management, the top management then are then bound to be supporting this. Okay, it cannot be just from we at the departmental level saying that we need this, we need this, we need this. But you know, we can't just create these things. These things have to have the support of the, especially financial support from the management. So this is why it's here. This statement is here in IHSAN. Okay. Okay, the next one. Okay, so hopefully, inshallah, we'll be able to be seeing more seminars, symposia coming out from the kulliyah, if not from other, from the university, but definitely also, inshallah, coming out from the kulliyah. Okay. When people talk about mental health, the tendency in the general public, we tend to be talking about this, you know, to refer to the practice and services. Okay, it is not that. So the IHSAN put this as one of the areas. We have seen the previous two areas, but practice and service is also a major area. Okay. Okay. This is where the source of the mental health policy and students come from. The IIUM is committed to provide necessary services to improve, maintain, and enhance the mental health of its students, staff, and family members. Okay. And so we make sure that the management understand this. That's why we expect that they will receive full support from the management in terms of human resource, financial resources, physical resources, and other relevant needs. Okay. And if you're saying, but it's not happening now. Yep. This is a strategic planning for the future. We find that it's not happening now. That's why it has to be put on paper and then endorsed up to the level of the BOG so that everyone is aware and everyone is committed to really going this way. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay. Okay. So our job should not be simply just to complain, but also to give what would be possible ways to enhance this. Okay. Okay. A new one. Okay. And the IHSAN is the establishment of the IHSAN and ILAJ unit. This would be under Centris, so you can talk to the boss, to the Centris boss, who is also a member of the kulliyah. Okay. Okay. The idea here is, remember we talked about the spiritual health and also having the component there, but the idea here is these are not to be competition. They're not competition, they're not to be antagonistic to the other services provided by Department of Psychology, Department of Counseling, by the CCSC, or by SASMEC, or by Psychiatry Department at the Kuliah of Medicine, but actually to be complementary and to help each other out. Okay, that's why the conceptualization just now of this being holistic and the spiritual aspect to be included is very important. Okay, that way we can also, now how does this process work? This is where then the council, which I'm going to be talking about to be just introduced to you later, will then have to put this in place. Okay, but it's here in case you're worried, but we're not talking about, we're ignoring the spiritual aspect. No, we're not. IHSAN does not, it does not ignore it, put it forth. Okay, it challenges the other departments who have not been using it to actually now, how do you incorporate this in your practices? Okay, and also to be advocacy for mental health. Okay, to be networking with people outside for mental health. Okay, and this is something that alhamdulillah we are doing. If you notice, IIUM staff have been appearing in Selamat Pagi Malaysia, okay, for the mental health segment, okay, which is coordinated by the dean. Yes, so you can see a lot of, so it's good to see not just people from the kuliah, and also not just people from the Department of Psychology, but people from the kuliah and from other departments, but also people from other kuliahs. Okay, so hoping that it is one way that we're going to make it visible there. Okay. And you can see the last one, actually we had this earlier, and now people are talking about this decriminalization of mental health patients. So something for us to make our voice perhaps be stronger. Okay, for those who are interested in advocacy, okay, you can play. You definitely, I hope as you listen to this, this is why I'm sharing all this and not just the policy, yeah? Because I hope as you listen to this, you see, you know, I may not be a subject matter expert, but I know where I can fit in. You know, I know where I can contribute to make this happen. So maybe then if you want to team up with a subject matter expert and then provide your expertise, okay, inshallah it will even be better. And again, as part of to be this reference center also, again, to think about when people think about mental health, Muslims or non-Muslims alike, they will think, okay, we should go to talk to the people in IIM. That's really the idea there. Okay. Okay. Now let me talk a little bit about governance. Okay. Under the framework, that's the establishment of the IHSAN Council. Okay. And there has to be now the full implementation of the IIM mental health policy for staff and IIM mental health policy for students. And there would also be the establishment of SOPs for handling. So this is an evolving. I think the first meeting of the council was yesterday. You can ask the secretary later, who is in here and who I will introduce to all of you later. Okay, so let's talk about the policies then. Okay, and why am I not talking about them separately? Okay, because the underpinning is the same. Okay, basically, so it rises from that framework just now, conceptualization of mental health just now, and really our role. Okay, our role, and so the underpinning is the same. It's really in terms of the specific implementation that's going to be different, because the role of the student and the role of the staff are different. Okay. So the university acknowledges that mental health is an important aspect of a person's quality of life and is a prerequisite for achieving a person's optimal potential. Okay. So at the very least, I hope as staff and especially as lecturers, we no longer poof students when they say I have mental health issues. Okay. We're not going to go outright and say, I don't believe in this kind of thing. They're all just like conspiracy of fake news. Let's just not have this, not outright. Your personal feelings alike, they are, we have to separate between our personal feeling and also our role as a Murabi here. Okay. And the university is committed to promoting equality of opportunity for all, eliminating any unlawful discrimination, and promoting positive attitudes towards all individuals. Okay, so you will see why these are two important statements when we look at what are some of the things that have arisen out of this policy. Okay, and the policies, both of these policies adopt the multiple prong approach. Okay, it is not simply going to the caring services. Okay, not only looking at staff who needs help. Of course, that's a big part. We need to help the staff who needs help or the students who need help. Okay, but we would also like to be looking at the preventive actions too. Okay, and also sometimes people don't realize that they need help. Okay, so that's why that's the awareness that has to also happen, or maybe people didn't realize that the people around them needs help. That's where also all this awareness have to happen. Okay, the awareness is not for us to be diagnosing people around us. Okay, that's for the professionals to do. Okay, but the awareness is for us to realize maybe there's something going on here. Okay, so maybe if it's ourselves, maybe we should go seek help, or if it's people around us, maybe we can gently ask them to go seek help. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay. You know, it's easy to judge things that we don't understand. So that's part of the awareness, so that we can understand more about what's going on. Okay, the skills training, because even when I said just now that, you know, we need to really get the professionals to do what is needed to be done, but we do have to have some first aid. And also sometimes there are things that is in our everyday interaction with people. Okay, sometimes the things that we do make the people that we interact, make them worse off. Okay, so that's, or the people that we interact with, you know, they are doing all sorts of things that's really stressing us out. So how do we handle this? That's part of the skills training. Okay, CCSA has started to do this, to actually have, they are coming out with modules for lecturers, okay, to help students in our classrooms. Okay, so what, look out for that, inshallah. And if it's publicized, and if you feel interested, I hope everyone will be interested to go and see what's going on. Okay, so we also do have spiritual assistance. So you can see, I hope at least at this point, ding dong, okay, I see where we can come in. Okay, and the managing consequences for the administrators, especially for the administrators here, there are implications. Okay, when our staff member or our student, okay, need help, what do we do? Okay, because it's really not just a one-person thing. It really is going to affect things around them. Okay, and there is a push for institutional initiatives. Okay, this is just another way to see this. Okay, but the idea here, okay, we are going to have this environment that's going to be supportive. Supportive doesn't mean allowing people to do whatever they want to do. Okay, supporting means trying to get them to be back on track, you know, to get, remember just now, to fulfill our potential. Okay, okay, so there will be initiatives going on, interventions going on, not just at the individual level, but at all these other levels, the HR level, the technological level, and the engagement level interventions. Okay. All right, so the idea also that why we do all this is when we talk about assistance to students with mental health difficulties, university is committed to ensuring, and we can see the next one, they look similar. Yes, they're similar, because the idea is that, okay, we're going to be providing assistance. We're not going to be punishing, okay, or ignore people with mental health issues. Okay, we're committed, but at the same time, okay, at the same time, we will also be looking out at the needs of the majority also. That's why when we talk about, you know, providing assistance to students with mental health difficulties, but ensuring the psychological well-being of all students. Okay, you know, so there is one person with issue here. Now, if the person is actually going to bring harm to the majority, then, you know, we cannot just be looking at the individual alone. So that's why sometimes when we look at the decisions taken on the individual, it may seem like it's zalim or it's unjust to the individual, but we have to look at the bigger context. Okay, same thing, vice versa also. Okay, just because we personally think that we don't want to deal with people who have mental health issues, you know, is it really fair to the other person? Okay, especially if you have the position to actually provide them that assistance, or provide them for the pathway, open up the pathway for them to get assistance. Okay, so these are things to be thinking about. It's a balancing thing. Okay, so what's new from that policy then? Okay, I'm just going to pick one big one from each of these. Okay, because this is still the policy are there to get us going. Okay, and there will be the new SOP and new initiatives coming out from this policy. I want to now first highlight the Fit for Study Committee. Okay, Fit for Study Committee, you will find this in the student policy. Okay, mental health for policy. Okay. Oh wait, I should also explain the mental health for student policy here also means that there is a provision for students who think they need help to register themselves at CCSC. Okay. Now, once they have registered themselves at CCSC, then the university is obliged, okay, to help them, which may include, for example, extending lecturers having to extend when we ask them to submit their marks, and giving them more time to complete their final assessment or any assessment. Or but the but here is that they have to be registered with CCSC. Okay, they cannot just go to the lecturer and say, you have to help me, or you have to give this to me. I have mental health issues. Okay, we're not going with self-diagnose here. We also need to make sure that it is also properly done. And most of us as lecturers, we don't have that, and we should not be also diagnosing our students. Okay, so we ask them to go to CCSC. They get certified. This is also just like the DSU unit. They get registered there. The CCSC will be looking over the case and say, okay, yes, you do have this. And so then we will then have you registered and also provide you so that you can then talk to your lecturers with support from CCSC. Okay, so it's not just I'm stressed, give me more time to submit my assignment. Okay, not that kind of thing. Okay, but the Fit of Study Committee also sometimes students know that they need to go away first, take this leave of absence. Okay, and they do take this leave of absence. Okay, but sometimes some students for some reason refuse to take this leave of absence. Okay, sometimes the families won't allow them. Sometimes the students themselves don't, or for whatever reason, they refuse to take the leave of absence. Okay, we know that the leave of absence has to be applied by the students. Okay, we cannot just give the students leave of absence. The Fit for Study Committee is a way for kuliah to actually force students to take the leave of absence. But the kuliah cannot just say, you know what, you should go take this leave of absence. Okay, I'm just signing you, you just go take this leave of absence. It has to go to this Fit for Study Committee. Okay, if you want to know, which is not just made up of members of the kuliah, but it's just actually made up of members from central agencies too. Okay, so that we are being fair to the student, and we are also sometimes forcing the students to take that leave is actually being fair to them. Okay, but we can't just left or right just tell students to go take this leave of absence. That's why there is a need for the Fit for Study Committee, so that the rights of everyone is inshallah taken care of. Okay, the rights and the needs. Okay, we really want the students to go take the leave of absence, not so that we don't have to deal with them for that semester. No, we're asking them to take the leave of absence so that they can go and get taken care of. Okay, dealing with whatever mental health issues that they have, and then dealing with the academic, stress that is there, okay, may not be the most helpful thing for the student. Okay, so that's why, okay, we're asking them to go get themselves taken care of, and then when they are ready to come back, we submit the application to come back, okay, to the Fit for Study Committee, and then there's an evaluation to see, okay, will you be able, to come. We're not talking about being fully healthy. We're talking about now, are you now able to function, okay, as a student? Then, then come back, please. Okay, so that's one of the things that's new on the ground. Okay, and then that's the for staff. That's also employee assistance program. Okay, we know that CCSE is generally for students, and we know that they have been kind enough to actually be helping out with staff, okay, even with the number of counselors that they have. And we also know that some of the academics who are certified are also doing this, but there is the issue that there are legal problems coming in, when we talk about potential implication to our work. Okay, so the EAP is to be put in place so that we can get help. Okay, we can get help whether we choose to it internally or in this case externally. Okay, so this is something that the university is now supposed to provide to our staff. Okay, and this is for the IHSAN Council to make sure that this happens. Okay, and then I have mentioned the IHSAN and ILEG unit. Okay, you may talk to Dr. Rauda. Okay, if you want to know more about this. I think Dr. Sulaiman Selpet is the head, but that was the previous, I think. Sure. And then finally, I'm going to introduce you to the IHSAN Council. Okay, the IHSAN Council is made up of, okay, so basically the IHSAN Council, the task force has been disbanded. We have done our job, okay, now, but the initiatives doesn't stop. So somebody else at the university level has to be looking at all these initiatives, make sure that they actually happen, and that is the job of the IHSAN Council. Okay, so the IHSAN Council is chaired by, rotationally, okay, by the Deputy Director, Executive Director, Deputy Director, Executive Director. Okay, so there will be 6 rotation there. Okay, currently we have 6 of them. Okay. Why? Because mental health is not just for this to be really something that the university can put forward. It has to be championed by everyone that in the management, and cannot be just only by one deputy director, the student deputy director, for example. Okay, or then you're going to have the staff policy probably not going to be looked at. Okay, but if you have the executive director of MST chairing it, then you may forever, then maybe you won't have the student aspect looked at. But we have talked about IHSAN has the research part, has the academic part. That's why we have this rotational chair. We have these permanent members that's agency based. We have the subject matter experts. Okay, some of them here come from this kuliah. Okay, we also have some that is on a needs basis appointment upon the discretion of the chairman, and the secretariat of the council is the Department of Psychology. So the kuliah plays a big role in this. Okay, and that secretariat at this point is not rotational. So you can see that this is a major acknowledgement, okay, by the university to the kuliah, specifically to the Department of Psychology. Okay, so that's your current chairman there. Okay, the current chairman is academic. Okay, and then that's your secretary. Okay, Dr. Nazaria, please show yourself. Okay, so basically after this, inshallah, if you have any issues, you talk to these people. Okay, I think Assoc will be announcing the makeup of these people. Now, one of the things that each of them have to do actually is sign a non-disclosure agreement. Okay, so there's the personal part is inshallah, the confidentiality part is there. Okay, I mean, you don't talk to them to membawang, yeah. Okay, you talk to them if you have issues yourself. Okay, so inshallah, so I will end here with this. Okay, something that Dr. Sylvia has shared with me. Okay, in terms of when I need, practice to use. Okay, thank you so much. Back to you. I'm sorry, I ran out of. I went we overtime.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lihanna, for the very informative and beneficial presentation. Professors, Dr. Brothers and Sisters, we have reached the final agenda of the event, which is the Q&A session, and the session will be around 5 minutes. For those who are joining us in Zoom, you may unmute yourself or write a question in the chat box. For our viewers on YouTube Live, kindly submit your questions in the comment section. Now, I open the floor to everyone for the Q&A session.
I think there are a few people from the, I mean, if no one is asking, there are a few people here from the Kuliah who are in the IHSAN Council. I'm sorry. Prof. Abdulaziz?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. In fact, it's not a question, but I would like just to really thank Dr. Lihanna for this really great thing to have in the university. I have been here for a long time, and I think this is the first time we are putting a very structured kind of a policy on mental health. I think we will be leading the way, not only in IIUM here, but we should aim for promoting this kind of expertise in the future, as you mentioned in the policy. I think that's something great to have such a policy. Maybe one of the things that I wanted you to comment on is how do we engage now our community? Yeah, we have now a council, but now what are the best strategies to engage our staff, students, and all the community to come out and create that awareness of mental health is not something to hide, but we come out and then we engage so that we create a healthy community and provide like a great kind of a community which is aware of the importance of this. Because sometimes, as you know, people, you tell them mental health and they will just hide themselves, and then so how do we break this kind of understanding about this important thing to you, to me, to everybody in the university? Thank you, Prof. Lihanna.
Thank you, Prof. Yep, the stigma of mental health, even though initially I said it has maybe going to be reducing, especially with the younger generation. We seem to see that they're more open to this, but perhaps with us from this older generation, yeah, you know, there is this worry, especially as staff, right? There is this worry, but if people know, then it's going to affect my promotion. If people know, it's going to affect how people work with me. Okay, so yes, that's one of the things that's why that just now included in the advocacy and in the training, those are things that has to be picked up. Okay, and you should not that has to be picked up. So we have to start talking about this. Okay, and one of the things that we have to, especially for the staff, is to convince them this is not going to affect the promotion. Having mental health issues per se is not going to affect the promotion. What is going to affect the promotion if they don't actually fulfill their work responsibilities? That's actually what is going to affect the promotion, right? Okay, so they have to, so it may come, not being able to fulfill their responsibilities may come because of having that mental health issues, which is why they should be seeking help so that then they can become better at work, inshallah. So, but yes, we need to have slowly but surely start all this campaign, all these awareness programs, okay, to have people to come out and get the help that they need to get. True. And inshallah, I think IHSAN Council will be in good hands, right? Prof. Shukran, maybe Prof. Shukran can explain that would be one of the things that they would have discussed in the council yesterday. Okay. Yes, cases for field of study committee. Can't remember the SOP right now offhand. Dr. Noor, can you help me out? It's basically from the perspective of the council, it comes from the kuliah. Okay, it comes from the kuliah. So to me, even if you go to the Deputy Dean Academic or the Deputy Dean student, you know, it has to go to the very top of it has to go to kuliah management to be taken care of. And then because the chair of the Fit for Study Committee is actually the dean of the kuliah. Okay, there's Department of Psychology, please pick it up, yeah? Provide some programs to IRK lecturers. Yeah, Dr. Jusmawati, thank you. All right. Dr. Zubaida, again, yes, this is also one of the provision. If you look at the framework and if you look at the policy for both student and also for staff, there is the involvement of family members. So when we are tackling issues, okay, the policy is very explicit and says we should not just tackle the individual, but look at the surrounding individuals. Okay, for students, the parents. So as a university, we should be engaging with the parents too. Okay, we shouldn't just go and tell them, hey, hello, your child has a problem. Okay, take your child out, for example, take your child out for leave of absence. But you know, there may have to be some sessions with them. Okay, before we can get them to see, okay, this is what is needed. Okay. All right, I think I have taken care of all the questions that came up. Okay.
All right, thank you everyone for your active participation. We from KIRKHS would like to convey our utmost gratitude to Dr. Lihanna Borhan for spending her time with us today to present and share the very beneficial and fruitful topic. As the saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending. And now the ceremony has come to its end. On behalf of the organizing committees, I would like to express our utmost gratitude to all the distinguished guests for making this Hadissus Sobah program a success. Our apologies for any shortcomings that occurred during the event. We hope everyone will stay safe wherever you are. With that, I am my duty as master of ceremony for today's event with wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Thank you, everybody.